This episode is brought to you by Bumble. So, you want to find someone you're compatible with, specifically someone who's ready for a serious connection, totally open to having kids in the future, is a tall, rock-climbing Libra, and loves rom-coms with vegan pizzas on Tuesdays just as much as you do. Bumble knows that you know exactly what's right for you. So whatever it is you're looking for, Bumble's features can help you find it. Date now on Bumble.
In today's class, we are learning about social media strategy for small businesses, whether you're a beginner or advanced. Hey, welcome back to Millionaire University. I'm Eric Fisher. I am thrilled to not only welcome you back, but also to welcome this week's guest speaker, Peg Fitzpatrick, to the show. Peg is the co-author, along with Guy Kawasaki, of the book, The Art of Social Media, Power Tips for Power Users. And she also has a brand new book in the works coming out soon, The Art of Small Business Social Media. And in this conversation, we're covering everything from the importance of understanding which platforms align with your business goals to strategic content planning and management. That, and we're going to give you some homework. There's some trainings that you can dive deeper into in the show notes, but there's no time for that now. Class is starting. Put your hands together for Peg Fitzpatrick. I am super excited today to be talking with Peg Fitzpatrick. Peg, welcome to Millionaire University. Thanks for being here.
I'm so excited to get $1 million. That's what I get for being in the show, right?
Yes, that is the prerequisite. So, or at least you will be sharing how people can make that much through social media and their business. You and I have both worked professionally in social media for a very long time, and it feels like it's almost like dog years, where each year in social media is 7 years in the real world, or vice versa. I don't know. It ages you. Social media is self-ages quickly and moves quickly. It's kind of crazy to think about all of that to say. You've already had a co-written book on social media. You've got a new one coming out, The Art of Small Business Social Media. And I'm curious, how has the perception of social media evolved in the context of small business since social media arrived?
That's a good question. I think at the beginning, and we're talking like 2011, I mean, it's so long ago.
Yes.
I think I started in 2010, maybe. At the beginning, small businesses were afraid to try it at all because most people thought social media was going to be a waste of time. Even I'll say my husband said, why are you even bothering with that? That's going to be a waste of time. And then it turned into a whole career. So who knew? I mean, I didn't actually know that would happen, but I was hoping that it would happen. I was spending a lot of time, as you probably did too. But most of the time that I have spent on social media, I've actually worked for a company doing their marketing and social media. So I do have a different perspective on it than most people know. I do actually manage a brand too. So, what has changed? I think most of them were 100% afraid to try anything at all because it was new. It seemed like it wasn't going to do anything. And we've all seen social channels. I'll say Snapchat for me. I don't know about you, but I just didn't see the value in that one. It's fun. Things disappeared. But I was like, I never saw how a brand could do anything on there without doing ads because you can never find people. And I think that's probably where most small businesses are. They're like, I don't know what to post. I don't know what my brand is. And I think it will be a waste of time. And we all know small businesses owners are the busiest people that there are. They're doing every single thing for their business. They're making the product. They're, doing the sales, doing the taxes, doing payroll. They're doing you have to know so many different things to be a successful small business owner that social media just seemed like another thing to add. So I think a lot of people just didn't start. And then, people started on Facebook way back in the day. And, things took off from there on what you could do with a brand page. That was really the first place where people had brand pages. And still today, people don't know the difference. And there's a lot of small business owners who have a personal profile that they're using to run their business, but they shouldn't be. They need to have a page. So I think it's just a lot of information for small business owners. So they were afraid to start. What do you think?
that whole business page or profile being used as a business page on Facebook. I still occasionally see it sometimes, but man,
even for people in the social media space.
Yeah. I worked at a university and I was the social media manager for the entire university. It was a position created for me. And the stuff that I walked into there was pre-existing things and different departments or sports teams had created profiles as pages. And I'm like, oh, we've got to convert this. You can't be using a profile. One, you miss out on lots of great stuff, but two, you just aren't going to be able to do the same things or present yourself the best way and so on.
And three, it's against the terms of service and they can shut you down at any time.
Yeah.
Which is, you don't want that to happen.
No.
And it's frustrating to people. Like, it's a different experience. And especially if somebody took their personal profile and then changed the name or something. I mean, it's not the way to do business.
No. Well, so what are some of those common misconceptions that small business owners have when it comes to social media? I mean, there were the initial ones where it was like, will it work? We've kind of seen that doing social media can result in sales. I mean, we've flat out seen that. We know the proof is there. But you mentioned the year 2011, 2007, I think was the year that Facebook became possible to use without a collegiate or university address, but it was still kind of, early days of Twitter then too.
Right.
We've come a very long way in the almost 20 years now, which is weird to say out loud. But what are some of those common misconceptions these days that small business owners have?
One of the things is, will they make sales? Won't they make sales? One thing is you most likely won't make sales right away. And that's hard to try to think of spending time on something that's not going to immediately get you sales. And then the other thing is that people think that it's just going to be for sales. They miss the whole point that it can be for customer service or just customer communication. Like, what hours are you open? What specials you have going on, things like that. During the pandemic, the small businesses that did not have social media pretty much all closed. A lot of businesses were changing their hours, and you would leave your house. You'd be like, okay, I'm going to leave my house, get a mask on, go out. And then you get there and it's closed, and you're not going to go back to a small business too many times if you go and it's closed. That's a sad reality. Small businesses, during the pandemic, some of them really did falter. And then some really knocked it out of the park because they hopped on, they had their hours, they were posting specials, they were there for people, they were helping people, they were letting customers know what they could do to help them. So the people who were able to pivot and switch that thinking and, from only traditional marketing to online marketing, it is a switch, but I think the misconceptions are, number one, that either they won't ever make any money or they will make money right away. Both of those things you usually don't hop right on and make money right away. You could, I'm not saying that it's impossible, but you usually have to put a little bit of time in and build your profile up. And that's a good thing, because if you're just starting out, you don't have great stuff at the beginning anyway. So who wants people to see your first post as a customer? I mean, it's not your best one, right?
Yeah. The whole plethora of what Facebook, we'll go with them specifically, offers in terms of options for a business page is almost a full marketing / communication suite that again, in that example there that you were talking about, you could go to a small business's website, but if they were going to change their hours or have specials or swap things up and be as flexible as they needed to be in times like that, where people are like, I don't know if I'm going to go anywhere or venture out. I need to know more quickly to be able to hop on Facebook, type in the business, see if they're open right then. And and the business owner can just toggle stuff and change things on the fly and not have to do it on their website. That was a huge boon for small business owners at the time. And really still now.
Yeah. Small businesses don't always have great websites either. Sometimes they just might have more of a landing page that doesn't really get updated. Because honestly, if somebody doesn't really know how to do social media, they're probably also not a website person. Having both of them is great. Having a landing page and your Facebook page.
Obviously, most small businesses, they're thinking, okay, I know social has a place, but maybe it doesn't have a place when I'm first starting out. And so they haven't touched it. Or maybe they touched it, but then kind of let it be kind of dormant, and they went on and got, they beefed up their products. They got their workflow set, maybe hired a person or two. They did some traditional marketing how can they then come back to social and integrate that with, say, the traditional marketing, or balance starting to invest in social media as well as anything they've already been doing?
The other thing is, if they have something that works, you definitely don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, because traditional marketing still does work for small businesses. My dog groomer, for example, they do something really great. They make little cards for like your appointment cards. They just take like a really basic thing and they put little dog stickers on it, which are super cute. They handwrite the little things and then you stick it on your fridge when you get home. Another classic, great traditional marketing thing. I love when you go get your car fixed and then they put a keychain on there and it's like, has the name, the number. It's still a smart thing to have those where somebody can stick a little magnet on their fridge. What was another one? I had a blind. I did some custom blinds, and they did a magnet that was an exact replica of their vans. So it just keeps you top of mind. A cool pen. But I just saw one behind me. Who knows how old this is? But wait, look, can you see it?
Just press share. Nice.
No, it's Kodak.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow.
It's a Kodak
a pen from Kodak, which is amazing because I'm originally from, and so are you. Duh. I'm remembering now. We're both originally from Rochester, New York, the birthplace of Kodak. And what a story that is. We won't go down that road, but
imagine if they had social media.
I know.
So anyway, it's just an example. This was just a promo from a camera 100%, because the just press share would have been to share a photo, not like we think now.
Oh, that's amazing.
So,
wow.
Right. So a promotional pen, gosh, I have other ones too, but those kind of things stick with you when they're good and they fit. I have one from Sherwin-Williams that is a little paint brush. The tip of it looks like a brush. So traditional marketing things 100% have their place for small businesses, and you don't have to get rid of one or the other, but you can just combine it. So you just want to make sure, even on your traditional marketing things, if you have a pen or a magnet, then you're going to add your social media icons on there and say, like, find us on Facebook or connect with us on Instagram, whichever one are your big social platforms that you're using. Add your logos places so people know that they can find you. I love when you go to a business and they have decals with their, you could just do the Instagram logo with your @ mention on there. It's a great way for people to know, oh, they're on there. And then if they come in your store, they can see that you have a great little photo opportunity for people to take a picture, and then they'll tag you on social media. It's a great way for more people to find you, especially on Facebook. If people tag your location on Instagram, or if they @ mention you, then when they post it, their followers will see it on their Facebook page.
That's some great ways. Yeah. And I think that the key here, I think what you're saying is ultimately don't stop doing what you're already doing. If you're already doing something digitally, great, especially if you're doing something analog. Now let's connect the two, connect the analog and the digital, so that they work together or complement each other, et cetera.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have to think about those things. If you're doing ads in your local shopper and you have no idea if anyone's ever using them, and if you have in there like, mention this ad for 20% off or something and no one ever uses it, maybe it's not helping your business to post. I mean, those kind of things you have to look at. Like, are you still getting value from the traditional things? Then by all means, keep doing it. And I think now more than ever, the analog things are more successful because they're not as common.
Yeah, and they make a bigger impact. But again, you can also share those out digitally and or capture try to capture at least the wow factor of the in-person thing in a non-in-person context.
And like, you could even, for example, turn that into a contest. So you could say, for example, you're the blind place and you make the cool magnet, and then you could do like a little post and do like share a photo of where you put your magnet for a chance to win, whatever. And that's just a way that people would, in the comments, then share a picture of their little magnet on their fridge or their pen or whatever. I mean, there's ways to connect them really easily once you start thinking about it.
Now, we mentioned Facebook a couple of times here now. How do you suggest a small business start to figure out, okay, which platforms should I be on? And I know the obvious answer is, well, which platforms are your customers on? But sometimes they may not even know that.
Right. So say you're a brick and mortar, I mean, there's different kinds of small businesses. So I try to talk about all of them because some are online and some aren't online. But say, for example, you're a dry cleaning shop and you have, a lot of people coming in. That demographic would be like, I don't want to say older, but it's not going to be Gen Z, because Gen Z is not going to go to the dry cleaners. So if you have people coming in, you can get an idea of the age range of people. You could even do a little contest and put jars on your counter and be like, put, like those little glass stone things. You could have a container and have people put beads in or whatever, buttons or whatever, in to say like, should we go on Instagram or, TikTok? Like, where are you guys? We need to know. Like, do a little contest and have people coming in, put every time that they come in, they put Instagram, and then you'll get like a little thing that will show you, all of our customers are on Instagram or TikTok. Dry cleaners in particular, they are going to have a demographic of like Gen X and above, maybe some younger. I think millennials don't do as much dry cleaning. So, you can kind of get the idea from that. You can look up the social platforms and see what the demographics are. Also, you can just say you're in an online business and you know that you're going to create websites for creative entrepreneurs. So that's a really wide open category. You can niche down yourself. Like I see a lot of people that just they do like feminine websites for like online people. So you can choose your own demographic and create things to reach those people. Then you would say, okay, I'm going to use Instagram and maybe TikTok for this. And I'm going to, figure out ways to share things about why people need websites, things that you've created, things like that. And then you would start sharing things about your product and using hashtags to reach those people. So part of it can be what your product is. Part of it could be where you're located. Are you a small town and you're a coffee shop? So who cares if anybody else follows you? All you want is everybody in your local town to follow you, really. If other people follow you because you post great like coffee or stuff, that's okay. But that's not going to help your business unless you sell anything that you could ship. Mm-hmm. So the reality is for that, all you care about is everyone in your town. And then it's going to be more of like checking out the hashtags and the locations in your town to see where people are. Are those people all on Facebook? Are they on Facebook and Instagram? Is TikTok going to help you at all? It depends. So, there's ways that you could work each one of those, but that way you're just doing local research because you just want to reach those local people. Those are the kind of accounts where it's not going to matter if you have 500 people and your town is pretty small. Like, that's great. All you need is those people. If they're all really local people that you're going to connect with, it's perfect. You're never going to have 10,000 or 15,000, nor should it matter if you do. If you live in a smaller place and those people aren't your customers, it doesn't matter. So those are the kinds of things that's different for a small business owner to focus on. Like, it doesn't always matter if you have big numbers. It matters if you're reaching the right people and sharing the right messages to get them to be your customer.
Now, I know that one of the other key pieces for small business owners when it comes to social media is maybe they've gotten to the point where they realize, oh, I'm wearing all the hats. I'm like you said, they're creating the products or they're working with people to create the products. They are doing the marketing, whether that's analog or digital. They are doing the HR, they are doing the bookkeeping, and they're doing all the things. They're wearing all the hats, and they need to start delegating and allocating resources of their own time elsewhere more than just on social media. So what are some of those key factors when deciding to manage social media, either hire somebody internally or even externally to come in and partner with you or, bring somebody in?
If you're a small business and you have another person that works for you and that person is, say they like social media more than you and they know your business, I would say train that person. You might not necessarily be the person that's going to train that person because maybe you don't have a lot of expertise in that. But if you have a person who, but we'll just say this time we're like a florist, you're the person who does the flowers and all the stuff. And then you have a person at the front desk, they love it. So then you could take that person and you are going to have to get some training for them. It's not going to be, yes, I know how to, I could post a lot on my own personal stuff. That doesn't always translate to being good at the business part of it. So if you have an internal person that you can train, the first place to go is Meta has amazing training for Instagram and Facebook, and you can have them take the little classes in there, learn all the back end things, and then you can kind of teach them what your brand is. So like they should have an idea of, they know your logo and your colors, and then you can just talk about like what are the most important things, like, are you the organic florist or are you the, if you're a small town florist, you probably handle all the proms and so some of the stuff is seasonal and then it's just kind of translating like your brand values to them so they can understand what's important to you when they post. So, you don't want anything like, say you're not silly or goofy, you want it to be like friendly, but professional. So maybe a couple emojis here and there, but not all emojis. And everything needs to be full sentences, no kind of slang. And so you can like lay out that kind of thing and make like little brand guidelines for them. If it's just you doing everything, you might not have that for yourself, but it's always a good idea to make like a brand Bible, if you will, and just have all the stuff in there. Even if it is just you, in the book that I wrote, I have the whole thing of like how to do all of that and just come up with all of that. It's hard at first, but once you start getting into all the pieces of it and then you get it all together, it makes everything that you create later so much easier if you know the brand that you're working with, because it's really easy to get distracted and use different colors and use different fonts, and then nothing looks the same and it's kind of confusing for people. So if you are going to train someone inside, just know the meta stuff is all free. So that stuff, they can take, and that's all free. There's books that you can invest in. You can definitely check your local library for marketing books for social media. And then also just other books. Books are a great way to learn. So you can get secondhand books. If you don't have a lot of money, there's still ways that you can do it. There's tons of webinars that you can find. So if you can have them while they're out looking, part of when you're learning, you're going to follow people who do social media. You don't want to get too wrapped up in just following people who do marketing and social media, but maybe you just follow a couple people that teach you how to do things. So some of your time on social media might be someone teaching you how to do things in Canva, or, make a cute reel, or how to do something, when you're recording a video or editing a video. There's tons of YouTube videos too. So there's definitely ways that you can help you or the person that you're working with, learn how to do these things. And then if you're going to hire outside, it isn't cheap to hire someone to do your social media. And you definitely want to get references from people. You want to see things that they've done. I know a lot of social media people say that it's not important for you personally to have your own good social media, but I've always felt like if mine isn't good, then why would people think I could do someone else's? So I always do maintain mine to some extent, depending, on other things that are going on. So, and then you're going to need to know like, what is it that you want and what your budget is before you start. I think it is cost prohibitive for most small businesses to have one dedicated person to do their social media and marketing. And it might be expensive to hire someone, but you could have someone create some of the things for you. If I was a small business owner, I would probably invest my money in a photographer and somebody that could come and help do photos of things for you that you could use on social media, and maybe do a little bit of your budget there. So you could do like branding kind of shots, the outside, the exterior, the products, that kind of thing, until you're really good at it. And if you're the owner of the business, you definitely want to have photos of you and talk about who the face is behind the business. So if you are going to hire someone, you would definitely go with like a smaller agency. If there's somebody local, you could check them out, but it doesn't have to be local at this point. You could work with somebody who's virtual. There's virtual assistants that are probably less money than hiring a social media agency. If you can't afford like a bigger agency, you might be able to find a virtual assistant that you could work with that would help you create materials. And you just kind of need to have an outline of what you would be looking for and, what they can help you with. So there's a lot going into even just hiring someone. You definitely don't want to like blindly hire someone and not have any idea what you're doing and what you want from them, because I've seen it happen in the past where the person who's hiring doesn't know enough, and then the person that's doing something isn't doing the right thing or enough, and then it's not really making an impact for them. And then they say, well, social media doesn't work because I tried that and that doesn't work. That's one of the things that small businesses have tried it. It didn't work. And so they say it just didn't work for me, but maybe they didn't have their brand set. They didn't really know what they were doing yet. So maybe also just taking time to learn yourself if you're going to start it before you jump in, so you don't feel that overwhelmed and feel like you're failing at it. There really is no like failing at it though. If you can keep trying, right?
Well, thank you. That was a great info dump on a lot of great stuff. And it's really helpful to think about that as, I mean, you really have to tailor it to yourself as the small business owner and have a certain amount of self-awareness and knowledge of your own strengths and weaknesses. I mean, that's going to even come into play, I think, when I ask which social platform should we be on? Well, which one do you like doing, yourself?
It does, because people, if you only are stuck on one thing, you're like, I'm going to do Facebook because that's what everybody says, but I hate Facebook. But I'm going to do it there because that's what everybody said. You're not going to enjoy it. You're not going to really be connected with it. But maybe Instagram is more your thing. Like maybe you like seeing the pictures and the reels. And because even though the same things are posted on Facebook and Instagram at this point, they look very different on the different platforms. And, when you scroll through the news feed, it looks a lot different on Instagram and Facebook. So they are different. And then TikTok is a whole other thing. That's a whole other, you can just go there and just waste all of your time. And then the next thing you know, you didn't get your products done and you have nothing to sell. That's a problem for small business owners, is you definitely don't want to have a time suck.
Yeah.
So liking the platform that you choose I feel like that really does make you succeed more at it. Don't you think so?
I think so. And it also factors into, again, that delegation component where it's like, well, I know I need to be, maybe you like Instagram, like in your example, you like Instagram, you need to be on Facebook, you begrudgingly do Facebook, but you bring someone in to help you do Facebook that is much better at it or knows it better or likes it better.
Right. I mean, honestly, if that was the case at this point, when you get a little bit better at it, I would just be posting on Instagram and have it auto post over to Facebook. So you had both, take out the hashtags, just tweak it a little bit. And I wouldn't even worry about it, because then you can just do two platforms. But that's like right away, that's a little bit hard to do, I think. It gets confusing for people. But say, for example, TikTok, Instagram is your favorite, but you have a younger employee that's really good at TikTok. TikTok is one place where there's really not a big difference between a personal profile and the business profile. So like you post the same kind of content and everything. So in that instance, you could have a person who really likes TikTok start doing it. Maybe they can even show you how to do parts of it, or they can film you while you're doing things. There's ways to work it out. So even if it was a place that maybe seemed like a little bit of a challenge for you, you could do it.
One of the other things that I was thinking of in terms of personalizing it, and you talked about this in terms of having the going into your book and having the kind of essentially not just knowing how to train somebody that's coming in to help you do it, but also having the clarity of your ideal customer and a brand persona to really kind of help you get creative and know, your strategy and who you're aiming for and how to come up with the creative and the deals and all that kind of stuff. Knowing them, speak to that a little bit. I mean, I know that it's already been something that's been talked about a lot, but speak to the importance of that. I think a lot of people just think, oh, I just need to show what I'm doing and how I do it. And you do, but it's way more than that.
It is, because the switch is, it's not you personally. That's a thing that I find small business owners have a hard time with. They can't always separate it's not my personal account. So it might be their business account, but then the next week they're posting a rant about the local politician election. And it's like, people seeing that would be like, what is this? This is supposed to be Susie's florist. Like, Susie, why are you complaining about, you don't see the difference between personal posting and business posting. There's a very big difference. If you don't know the difference and you start dumping your personal stuff on your business page, 100% it's not going to fly. So what you need to make sure is that you're Susie's Florals and your posting is that. So it's not you as Susie, it's the brand. So then you're going to come up with what the brand is and the brand voices and the font and the branding pieces that we talked about. But then you're going to have like your ideal customer. So your ideal customer is, a married man who likes to send flowers to his wife on birthdays and anniversaries. And then some other days he just stops in to pick up bouquets. So how are you going to reach that person? Then you have another persona that is like local businesses that buy flowers, like it's restaurants and things like that. So you might have local businesses. So there might be a couple different people that you're talking to, but you're never talking to them as you're talking as the florist. So then you're going to think about when you're writing your text, like, okay, it's January now, but you can start doing teasers at the end of January saying, don't forget, you want to get your flower order in so you can make sure that your wife gets her favorite, roses that she likes every year. So you're just going to do like little reminder. So you're going to be talking exactly to the guy that, is going to buy flowers for his wife, or, trying to reach them at another time, say it's like months after, then you're going to post things like, hey, we got a great bunch of, like post some flowers that you have just received a bunch of, post the different kinds. Maybe you'll hit people for their wife's favorite flowers, or you could do something about like go through what the flowers all mean. Each flower that you send has a different meaning. And you could say, did you do something wrong? Maybe you're sorry. It's a good day to send that. I can't remember. I think it's white. I can't remember. White is period. I can't remember. There's flowers that mean like you're sorry. And then like yellow flowers are friendship. So there's like different ways things that you could talk about that you could reach people who maybe don't come in all the time, but maybe you could inspire them to come in. So think of it, that's how you would like use your persona to talk to that exact person. And then the voice that you use, you want it to stay consistent, which I already kind of talked about a little bit, but do you use emojis? Maybe a little bit. Maybe you're using the flowers and the leaves and, maybe you also have house plants. And so you could talk about that. And then you could appeal to like all the millennials who like went houseplant crazy. You could talk about houseplants and how to take care of them and the new ones that you got in. So just think about who comes in to buy things and then creating that persona for like your houseplant customer and speaking to those people. That gives you so much stuff to post. You can do like talk about the different kinds of lights for plant and the different kinds of water. Like, does it need to get water? I got one recently. It's like you only water it once a month. And I have such a hard time not watering it all the time, but I know that it only gets once a month. So it's things like that. So think about like how you can share knowledge that's going to help people with the things that they bought from you, going to inspire them to come in and ask questions, be the resource for your customers. People who are really knowledgeable in their area of expertise, like you could say, they'll save it and be like, oh, I'm going to be downtown. I should go in and ask a question about my money tree. Why are all the leaves turning like brown and also yellow? And some of them are falling off and, you don't know what to do. So then you just take pictures of it and you go in and, Susie's going to have the answer. So it's creating that like persona for yourself as well as for the customers. But so you're sharing the information that's going to help them and then they're going to come back in. It's just another way to reach people. And that's how your persona kind of works is, you're talking to that specific person. So then when you're sitting down to write the posts, like say you're going to sit down once a week and you're writing the stuff, think about like you're speaking to that person. Like that's how your persona ties into making all of your content really good and really valuable. And it also brings in business.
Yeah, it ends up being kind of your business marketing Bible in a sense. You have documentation to go back to refer to. Even if you're the one who already wrote it, it just helps you think, okay, we've got this brand new thing. Let's go back and look it over and like kind of start to plug and play. In other words, you've already done a lot of the homework. It helps you then templatize things much quicker and easier and get out of your own way because the blank page can really freeze people up from getting started.
Right. And if you're trying to talk to every single person, you are talking to no one. I think that's a Confucius quote. But if you try to speak with everyone, you really hit no market. That's the thing. Like your audience can't be everyone unless you're like trying to hit everyone in your town. But even as a small local coffee shop, everybody doesn't drink coffee. You really want to talk to the coffee people or the tea people or whoever. So it really helps your content inform. Well, it helps you inform everything that you create: photos, graphics, videos, everything, but especially like the voice of what you write. The persona helps you just get into that mindset of, okay, I'm thinking about it. It's the guy, it's the anniversary, it's the, who's buying the flowers.
I think one of the other key pieces here is, so say we've done all this, we've even delegated, we've brought people in, we've got things humming and running. What are some of the ways that we can balance the time spent on social media, because it can be a time suck, with other business responsibilities time-wise?
So I think, once you get into the swing of it, definitely having an editorial calendar for like even a month or quarter or a year. You could have an overall one for the whole year. Things change as you're going. If you are that florist, the big holidays are going to come up. You're going to have Valentine's Day and then you're going to have Mother's Day and at Father's Day, no for flowers. You're going to look at the days that are big and then fill those out. And then you're going to try to have campaigns in there that are going to help bring in, because you have to bring in business all the time. Valentine's Day is great, but then when March comes around, no one's going to be in for flowers for March Madness unless you come up with a way to work that in there. So, so creating a calendar, it doesn't have to be a whole year or a whole month. Even if you just do a week, try to have a chunk of time when you can sit down once a week. If you do it Sunday night, if you're the owner and you're doing it, or like Friday afternoon, just have like a chunk of time where you're going to sit down and you're going to just look at the week and you're going to come up with the 5 ideas or the 7 ideas if you're posting on the weekends too. It'll make your content better if you have a little plan for the week, create those things, and then use a tool to help plan, to schedule them. So I like to use Plan That. That's like my favorite thing right now, Plan. It's really easy. It works for Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and TikTok, actually. So you can schedule just about everything in there. So I like to just put it in there. You still, even if you schedule things for the week, that gives you just the stuff done. That is a big chunk. But then the other piece is you do have to go in to check to make sure things posted right. So you're just going to pull it up. Like just do like 2 little blocks of time, one in the morning and then one later in the day to just check to make sure, see if you have any comments or questions, check to make sure that your post posted correctly, and then try to like some other, local business things and comment on some things where you can. If you are like that local coffee shop, you're going to be connected with maybe some of your customers around or maybe some of the other businesses around. Just stay active for a little bit, but just try not to go on for endless times. If you're like, oh, I'm just going to go on for X amount of time, you'll just end up looking through stuff and being there forever. It's good to kind of check your competition out every once in a while, but don't get so focused on what the competition is doing that it bothers you and starts, giving you that imposter syndrome kind of thing. So I would say try to plan your week out and then do, a chunk of time in the morning and a chunk of time at the end of your day to just check through to make sure people didn't send you any messages or have questions. I just say like 15-minute chunks even work. So if you can just schedule those little times in, then it will happen. If you don't have a plan for the content you're going to post, nothing's going to get posted, or you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I haven't posted in 3 days. And then it's stressful and you don't know what to post. And that makes the whole process harder. So if you schedule a little chunk of time, once you get used to doing it, it doesn't take a huge amount of time to come up with a plan. I like to look at the things that have posted recently. How do they do? Did you try something like a this or that kind of post, or, asking people questions is always a good idea. So see where you can work and see how your past content did and let that inform your choices for new stuff. It's hard not to get sucked into things that are popular, like doing reels on Instagram, because those are favored on Instagram right now, but they're very time consuming to make. So make sure that you choose to do things that you can work in your schedule and, try to plan that time. It is going to take some time to do it, but it doesn't have to be endless amounts of time. Try not to overthink it too much. It helps a lot if you have your brand all set and you have your brand voice all set and this week we're going to focus on X product or this service, and then just kind of do that week. And then if you can do a little bit more, that's fine. But honestly, if you can have 1 week done and scheduled, you'll feel so good about it and it will not be as stressful. And you don't have to worry about, did I post something? I don't have any ideas today. Once you get set in the mindset of just like doing a chunk of it, it helps get your brain flowing for ideas when you create more than one at a time. Do you find that?
Yeah, I was going to say, and I think another key piece is know when you're most creative when it comes to this kind of thing, and sit down and, maybe you go to that local coffee shop and you sit there and you have a notebook or a laptop or both, and you sip some coffee and you kind of see people walking in and out and you have the ambiance and you say, okay, I'm just jotting down ideas and this is my creative time and I know I've got these slots, and then you start to chunk them in there. And again, this may be first thing in the morning or late morning, or maybe it's the coffee that you have post lunch, or maybe it's the end of the day. It's like, okay, everything's squared away for the day. I can walk away and I'm good, or you're remote working, you're walking away figuratively and maybe you're going to that kitchen table. I don't know,
right.
The dining room table, and you're sitting there and doing this instead, just to kind of get a little bit of a change up. But in other words, what I'm getting at is compartmentalize and say, I'm not saying compartmentalize your creativity, but I'm saying compartmentalize and the task.
And if you put it on your calendar, it will happen. If you don't, it will not. So put it on your own calendar to just do your little check-in times. And, a good thing is if you're posting at 8 a.m. in the morning every day, then just put it on your calendar to check it. And then just do your 15 minutes, set a little timer, get off, go do everything else you have to do. And then later do your other time. And then just whenever your best block of time is for creativity, do that too. You could try it Monday morning, you could try it Friday afternoon, see which one works better. And put it on, just you have to plan to be successful, just like with anything else that you're doing with your business. This just it can't be by the seat of your pants. Otherwise, it will add more stress to your life, which is definitely not what you need.
No, not at all. Well, there is so much more than we touched on here in this conversation in your upcoming book, and it is titled The Art of Small Business Social Media. I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on it. I've already seen all the chapters and the headings and the topics and everything, but I would love for you to share, where can people find out more about the work you're doing and get an idea and jump in and maybe even pre-order the book?
Pre-orders aren't out yet, but it's someday they will be. You can find me at pegfitzpatrick.com. My website has a lot of social media information on it. That's another great place if you're trying to learn. Social media blogs are a really great place to go learn. And I'm at Peg Fitzpatrick everywhere on social media. I have the same name. It's a good tip for you too. Make sure you can get your name on social media for your small business.
Awesome. Peg, thank you so much for sharing all of your wisdom and experience. And thank you for being here.
Thanks.
Well, there you go. With that wisdom that Peg has shared, I am encouraging you to start to take a closer look, even if you've already started in social media, at what you're doing with your business. The persona, the character that is behind your brand. Take another look at the customers that you're serving or trying to reach. Create that persona of your ideal customer. Set aside some time to assess your social platforms and whether you really enjoy it or if there's something you can offload to someone else to help you with. And remember, you don't have to be afraid of that idea of juggling all the hats. Peg's advice on finding the right help can help you. You can train an internal team member. You can find some external assistance. Investing in your social media presence doesn't have to break the bank, and you don't have to get into the content trap of constantly posting. You need to be posting the right things for the right people, not getting stuck in the rat race of content. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you do with this and the potential that I know you have. Stay inspired, get creative, and until next time, class is dismissed.